Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Miniature Painting 101, a series of videos where I teach you all about painting miniatures from start to finish and everything in between. And this is part 108, freehanding a sword symbol on a banner for an Imperial Knight. As requested by you, wanted more symbols, so I'm going to do some more sword symbols. And today we'll be freehanding a sword symbol on this pre-painted banner for an Imperial Knight in a white warden color scheme. And of course we'll be using Abaddon Black. And the key is, when painting as always, is use to thin down paint, so I use some Lamy medium to thin it down to a nice consistency to paint. And because we have a great measure already, all we're going to do is start this off by creating the skeleton, by creating a line down the very center of the banner. And luckily, it's already been painted so that you know the center of the banner is the line of division between the yellows and the gray and the white area. So all we're going to do is take our time and work our way down the banner and create a nice straight line. Now I must mention there is a bend in this particular banner which will throw off certain angles. It'll appear bent, but it is pretty straight. The problem is there is a bend in the banner, so a couple points, the angles might change the illusion a little bit. So now that we've created a line, I just created a quick cross down a little bit down the straight line, and now that's our skeleton. It's just a small cross essentially. And now what we're going to do is, all I did was create a little bit of a ball at the very top of the sword. And now we're going to connect the part of the cross to the ball, using a little bit of a triangle essentially. So we're just creating a little bit of a triangle, trying to keep equidistant on each side of the main line of our skeleton. So that's the key, as I said. The key is just to create your skeleton and then fill it in a little bit at a time. And I like to work my way downwards typically. Now you'll notice that my brush strokes are typically left to right, and that's because it is what I'm more comfortable with. If you're left-handed or you find you work better right to left with your strokes, do that, feel free. I just typically work better left to right, so you're going to notice that my strokes are typically left to right. I am right-handed, and it just tends to work with whichever is more comfortable with you. So right now I'm just filling in that triangle and connecting the handle, the hilt to the ball, creating the handle of the sword. So now we're going to pick it up once again, and now we're going to create a little bit of another part. We're just going to extend the hilt, and we're just going to create a little bit extra lines, so a bit of an angle going downwards, and that's the handle, finishing the handle of the sword. So we're going a little bit on an angle, about 45-degree angle in each part, and then we're going to simply just connect it quickly and just smooth it out a little bit so it has more of a bend. It's not as sharp of an angle. This here now, I'm just cleaning it up slightly and creating more of a bend to it, as opposed to just a sharp point of reflection. And there we go. So now we've got our handle completely done. So now it's time to work on the sword itself. So now what we're going to do is create another little cross part just beneath it, but not as wide as we did originally. Just a little bit outwards, as you can see there. And then once again, we're going to create triangles and connect it both downwards and upwards. This is just a little bit of a width change at the base of the sword. And then we're going to use this point as a connection piece when we finish up the blade of the sword. So as you see, it's a bit of a triangle, a bit of a diamond shape, and then we're going to fill it in as always. And this is what I like to do with my symbols. I like to break it down to simpler shapes, do the skeleton, and then fill it in using thin down paint. And that's basically it. So now we've got our thicker point, and now it's time to create the blade of the sword. So we're going to go down to the very tip of our line, which, as I said, the key for the line was to go about almost to the bottom, and then we're just very carefully create two about 45-degree angles, lines. You can do as thin or as thick as you want for your sword. I personally prefer draw my swords a little bit more massive, because then they take up more space in the banner and look more epic. So as you see, just created two lines about 50 degrees up at an angle. And then all we're going to do is now, after we've got our lines, and the key is try to keep them equidistant from the center line, is that we are going to connect these lines then to the part that we just created, the diamond shape. And the key is just to go as cleanly straight as you possibly can. Now if you find yourself going a little bit bendy, you can just going afterwards and straighten it out a little bit and create a little bit thicker of a sword. That's a key way to clean it up, because now we are using a darker color over lighter colors, so it's easier to kind of expand the symbol as it is to clean up the symbol on each side. So as you can see right now, I'm just carefully drawing really straight lines, going left to right, because once again, that's what I'm comfortable with, connecting the blade of the sword to the diamond shape, the expansion of the sword near the base. And that's all we're doing. And now that we've completed our skeleton, and now it's just time to fill in the blade. So as you can see, just filling it in a little bit at a time with thin down paint so it doesn't show the brush strokes. And now it's time to just fill it in. And we've completed our sword. Now it's just the time to go and clean it up slightly. So just notice any bends, clean it up just with careful brush strokes, and get it nice and straight. But that's essentially a sword. And after a little bit of cleaning, here's what the product looks like. As you can see, I just straightened out the sword a little bit on the left hand side just by adding a couple extra strokes, and just cleaned up a little bit on the sword handle, and now we got it. And as you see, there's quite a significant bend in this banner, and that's what throws a little bit of illusion of a bend into the sword. But in the end, it's a nice straight symbol. It definitely looks like a sword, and it was not too hard to freehand. The key is, as always, use a thin down paint, create your skeleton, do a little piece of the shape at a time, and then fill it in accordingly. And in the end, you get a really nice sword freehand symbol, and pretty impressive to other people. So as always, thank you so much for watching this episode of Miniature Painting 101. Stay tuned for next week's episode, part 109, which is just around the corner. But if you don't want to wait for next week, check out The Warp. Click on the link below for a free 14-day trial to my premium YouTube channel. We're not even going to see the next 6 months worth of Miniature Painting 101 episodes before anyone else. You'll get to see over 100 start-to-finish painting tutorials, dozens of battle reports and face-off episodes, and Airbrush 101 series. Just some awesome content. Go ahead and check it out. I know you'll love it. So stay tuned for more episodes. Until next time, this is Jay saying, happy painting, everyone.